continue the theme now of hearing from champion countries, countries who are both members of Friends. So our third Friends member is Costa Rica, who will be the country of the next two speakers. And they've also got a wonderful history of moving out of fossil fuel subsidies and then into very, very positive taxation policies and redevelopment policies and reallocation policies. So without further ado, I would like to firstly introduce Dr. Edgar Gutierrez.
We have and we must see our fight to climate change in the long-term perspective, as we have to see our sustainable development goals as part of these long-term strategies, development strategies. And by saying this, what I'm saying is that we already signed the Paris Agreement. We are under an agenda that is taking forward the Agenda 2030 on sustainable development. We are taking the agenda of sustainable development to 2050, even 2100. I mean, it is more ambitious. It is thinking. The Paris Agreement is putting just in front of us new ways of thinking and new ways of commitment so that we can actually see our planet in the long term. We have to get rid of the short-term public policies. It is just about time to get rid of the neoliberal kind of thinking. We have to think about the long term, and therefore we have to plan. We have to do planning, something that we did in the past and no longer, and in the recent past we did. That's why in Costa Rica, my ministry and the Ministry of Planning is coordinating to generate a long-term LERDS, a long-term low emission and resilient development strategy. It is part of the same agenda. And we are calling the Ministry of Finance to come in and look at the whole development path that we're putting together as the way to find the resources to actually fund this development in the right. The Paris Agreement and Sustainable Development Goals require that our countries demonstrate that the collective commitments we took all at the global stage are achievable at the national level. You were saying the same thing. This country-driven. I mean, we have commitments at the universal level or global level, but it is country-driven. I mean, our commitments have to be country-driven. Fossil fuel subsidies are incompatible with policies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. To achieve the objectives established in the Paris Agreement and the Sustainable Development Goals, it is critical to accelerate the elimination of these subsidies and reallocate the revenues generated towards the mitigation and adaptation. The policy is to establish a greenhouse gas emission fee on mobile and fixed sources. The 7th National Energy Plan, that goes up to 2030, established the creation of a fee on the emissions from stationary and mobile sources of greenhouse gas emissions as a mechanism for pricing the externality generated by the consumption of fossil fuels. The fee will consist of an annual charge for individual of vehicles and industrial boilers emissions, on both for the emission of local pollutants and as well as carbon dioxide. The fee or the levy is an effort to realize the polluters pay principle, as well as to reflect the consumers that the true cost of burning fossil fuels has to be paid. The revenue generated by the fee will be invested in projects of public transportation, urban mobility, technology change, and for the strengthening of emission monitoring and reporting.